Okay. Welcome back, everybody, for another 2 p.m. PST Twitch stream. I'm your host, Strange Bro Jim, and today we're going to be getting back into Pega, uh, more specifically the data model. We're going to continue working on that module. Um, I had some difficulties yesterday concerning what was covered in there, so um, for the data modeling, had some issues trying to figure out um, it felt like I was reading things that they were even and that they were like countering with their images and like, so I got a little confused. I haven't been able to clear that part up yet, but um, we'll worry about that a little bit later. Um, my one friend's really busy with work, which is understandable, so I didn't want to bother her with too much there. Um, so we're just going to be covering the next topic, which is the data records. Um, we'll be going through that. Looks like there's quite a bit of information on this one as well, so, at my pace, it's probably going to take the full hour again. Um, all these videos are going to be uploaded to my YouTube channel, so if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you for coming on back. Um, if you're watching this for the first time, or if you're watching this video series for the first time, know that I'm on the path for, trying to get my system architect certification. Um, uh, when I took the training from my job, um, they had a trainer, but the trainer wasn't really that great. So I had some issues with the trainer, and so um, along with quite a number of my other peers in the batch. So um, but I wasn't able to get my certification. Um, I missed a couple questions more than the minimum, and well, it obviously didn't qualify. So, and I never took the time to fix that. So, I'm on furlough right now, so I figured might as well. I got a lot of time now on my hands. Might as well work on trying to get that system architect certification. Now, if you're trying for the system architect certification, then follow along with me, or go at your own pace. Obviously, you know. Um, there's also the business analyst that is pretty much, you know, it's very similar to the beginning of a system architect. It contains both of the first two missions for the system architect, but after that, there's only like two additional modules for the um, business architect, whereas the system architect has multiple modules and challenges afterwards. So, um, uh, who knows? Maybe I'll try the business analyst as well, just to see if maybe I can get that, you know, in the meantime. Not sure. I don't know. I'm thinking about it maybe. But I mean, my interest is more on the system architect. So, I enjoy programming. You know, I won't say that I'm the best at it, but you know, um, but I still enjoy it. So, and I'll, you know, continue to try to fight for a job in the field, but it is what it is. We move on. So, for data records, applications that require access to data that is used to process cases but is not directly part of the application. Data records provide values for the fields associated with a particular data object and can be stored outside the case. As a result, you can widely reuse and reference data records. Um, Data records provide values for the fields associated with a particular data object and can be stored outside the case. But they aren't the data object itself. Hmm. Data records define permissible values for data fields. Limiting the input values to valid options reduces errors and allows for automation. For example, you have an airport code drop-down list. There is a data object for airports. Each airport includes a value for the airport code, city, and country. The values in the airport data object do not vary among case types. Right, because I mean you want the information contained within the and you want the information contained within the data object to remain the same. I mean, unless you need to change them or whatnot. So, um, in this example, only user-selected airport code and location information is added to and persisted with the case. Okay. After adding data records to a data object, you can reference the data object in a form. By default, the data records display a selectable drop-down list. When an option is selected, the associated values can be displayed in the form as shown in the following image. I guess I'm not really understanding what data records is supposed to be doing overall. Data records provide values for the fields associated with a particular data object. Can be stored outside the case. Hmm. I don't know. I'm trying to see what the connection is between these two. Maybe this paragraph will answer it. Data records and data objects. In Pega platform, data objects represent key business entities such as customers. I mean, okay. Data objects contain all the fields necessary to determine an object. For example, an identifier, name, address, and date of account creation describe a customer. Well, I mean, you could have more than just those to describe a customer, but sure. Generally, a change of data record values does not need an associated change in the business process to support the change. Okay. Whereas a change in the data object fields represents a change in the business process. Wait, what do you mean by that? For example, adding a new customer as part of the standard business process. Adding a new customer levels, for example, platinum results in a modification to the business process to manage platinum customers. This is why I'm so darn confused by their language sometimes. It feels as though they're trying to talk about the same exact thing, data record and data object. Okay, it feels like they're trying to talk about the same exact thing um, with them. Um, because they're saying, okay, uh, data objects represent key business entities such as customers. A change in the data object fields represents a change in the business processes. So they're basically stating that because you're trying to add a new customer level to the customer object, you're changing the business process. Understandable on that one. A change to the data record does not need an associated change in the business process to support the change. So, so adding a new customer is part of the standard business process. Okay, um, so they're basically stating that each data object, you know, as a customer, you have, multiple data objects, or you have a data object, and if you need to address one customer, that's one data object. If you want to address another customer, that's another data object. Understandable on that. A data record is basically a listing of all those data objects, all those customers. So when you add another customer to your data record of all of them, you're not changing the process because you're not adding, you're not necessarily adding anything new, anything different for that customer. You're not, you don't need to display like a new field. Like if you never had like address for the customer and then you add in address, then you're going to need to change a lot of um, your application to show that address. Otherwise, what's the point of adding it, right? Um, but when you add in a new customer, you don't necessarily need to change any of the fields. You're just you're still going to be showing that different customer that got added in. So that's the data records. Um, so what were they trying to do up here? This this doesn't really make that much sense based off of when I try to learn down here. So because the data object will contain the data fields. You know, you know, the object is containing the identifier name, address, date of account creation, and whether or not they're a customer level. That's what a data object is all about. So what are they talking about by data records define permissible values for data fields? What does that have? Isn't that supposed to be a data object? After adding data records to a data object, you can reference the data object in a form. By default, the data records display a selectable drop-down list. When, the, when an option is selected, the associated values can be displayed in the form. So, I'm so based on what we did down here, and a data a data object will have airport code, you know, city and country here, right? They state that up here. There's a data object for airports. Each airport includes a value for code, city, and country. So so each one of these, JFK, LAX, BOS, BJX, BLR, these are all individual objects, containing this information for each one. The full listing here of all of them would be a data record based off of, what I'm gathering down here about, what the difference is between data records and data objects. But what does that have to do with defining permissible values for data fields? Limiting input values to valid options reduces errors and allows for automation. I can understand as a result you can widely reuse and reference data records. I get that. If you have a listing of all these airports or customers and the like, you can take that and move it, from application to application. I get that. I understand that. Um, what I don't understand is, why data records provide values for fields associated with a particular data object, and that can be stored outside the case. mean, data records don't necessarily provide values. It's the data object itself that has the values. It has the data contained within it. It has the, the identifiers and, um, the, variable names and the variable types and what's contained within those variables. So, so data records don't necessarily provide values though. So am I missing something? I mean, once again, I'm I'm stuck on the language that they're using here. Oh boy, this is often you know this is what trips me up sometimes. Um, I mean, their word usage could be perfectly fine. I'm just not, maybe I don't have a dictionary locked in my head there, folks. Um, so my word usage and and the like, isn't the greatest. I'm not the best when it comes to that. Um, I tend to refer more to the mathematical mind, you know, um, you know, a limited amount of logic to it as well. I'm not like a Spock, or, I'm not like, this is illogical. Um, I'm not like that. I'm not that far into logic. Um, but then again, I tend to look at some people and go, do you know common sense? Um, so, um, so yeah, I can have, I have problems sometimes with this, so it's like, hmm. Oh, um, I want to do an FYI, or I want to let people know. Okay. Um, I've been getting random friend requests from people that I don't know. Okay. Um, guess what? If you do that and I don't know you at all, I'm gonna reject. So, um, you know, I'm getting friend requests from, like people that are trying to, um, reach out for business or something along those lines. Don't bother. I'm gonna reject it. Okay. I don't know you, and therefore I'm not gonna consider you as a friend. Granted, some people might look at me streaming as a business. Sure. I mean, some might think of it that way. I don't consider streaming a business. So, um, so, um, I would see friend connections as something more personal, and therefore, um, anybody that's trying to connect to me that way, trying to connect to me through my Discord, you know, try to connect to me personally on my Discord. No, sorry, I'm gonna reject it. Okay. You're welcome to talk to me. You know, you can email me if you want. You can talk on my Discord chat and all that. You can try to contact me through Twitter if you want, but um, sorry, you know, if I don't know you, I'm not gonna accept your friend requests. So, um, you know, come come to my chat, talk with me in chat. I have no problem communicating with you in chat. Talk to me on my Discord. I have plenty of text channels that you can talk in. Um, if you want to do, you know, as I mentioned before, if you're an artist and you're wanting to sell your art, I have a stream team. You can you can apply there. You know, um, I can bring you into the stream team. Let me know. Through those means, direct direct friendship, direct friend request is not going to get you anywhere with me. That's not how you. Well, that's not how I would do business. Maybe that's why I fail on business so much. But I'd I'd want to get to know a person first. You know, to before I consider them a friend. If you want to do business only, then believe me, there's plenty of other options for business only. So you know, asking for friend requests is not one of them. Matter of fact, let me verify that. Let me verify that I do have my um, am I displaying? Let's see. Um, let's see. Yeah, I have I have my email address shown on my YouTube channel. If you want to try to communicate to me through that, you're welcome to do that. But yeah, but I mean, oh, I think I might have displayed a little too much there. Hold on a second. Let me make sure that I didn't show off too much here. Looks like I didn't really show off anything here. Really, nothing that is that concerning. Um, yeah, okay. Sorry about that. I wanted to double check. Okay, sorry about the tangent there, but I wanted to kind of address that, you know, record it too, and obviously it doesn't really matter to you folks that are watching this, via my YouTube video, so apologies on that, but I just wanted to kind of get that out there. So, okay, local data storage. In Pega platform application, there are several ways to create and use data records for reference data. Local storage Local data storage lets you store data records for a data object without creating or maintaining database tables. In the following image, click the plus icons to learn more about data records. Unique key. Each data object has a property that serves as a unique record key. By default, Pega Platform creates a globally unique ID or PYGUID when you create the data object in App Studio. In an Office data object, the ID property is a unique custom key that identifies each office. Data records. After you create a local data source, you can add records to the data source. For example, in the Office data object, you can add records for each office location. Okay. External data sources. You can configure a data object to retrieve data from an external data source, such as a database or web service. For example, a purchase application needs access to currency exchange rates, and exchange rate information is stored in an external database table. Shouldn't that be you can configure a data record, not a data object? I don't know. It's because, okay, the reason why I'm asking this, you know, shouldn't you be configuring a data record is the fact that you don't want to, you know, what it, what was explained to me, you know, when it comes to database management is that you don't want to be trying to access um, a database table to get information every single time that you're trying to get, pieces of information from there. Like, you don't want to go, hey, I need to access this record, I need to access your database to get the customer name. Okay, great. I got it. Now I use it. Oh, wait, I need the customer address. Bring that in. Okay, continue. Oh, wait, I need the phone number. It's like that does that that's wasting the table's time, that's wasting your time. You want to be able to just kind of bring, you know, all the relevant data that you need, all at once. Like, hey, I need that customer, you know. Um, and ideally, you'd want to be, hey, I want this particular, um, I want this particular table, you know, so you have everything all ready to go, you know, you know, you'd want a full listing of everything, not necessarily, hey, give me the first entry in the table, give me the second entry in the table, give me a third entry. It's like, no, you just grab the entire table and put it in, put it up for display. Typically, depends on the number of records that you have on said table, right? If you're having like millions and millions of data there, then obviously that's not that easy to do. Um, so you want to obviously limit down how much information you show. You want to filter it down some, you know. Um, but to state that, hey, you want to configure a data object to retrieve data? That's Isn't that just bad design? That's like bad database design, right? Am I wrong? You know, would love would love to get some clarity on that because um oh hell, so far the both of these topics in the data model have been kind of confusing. Not gonna lie. Um, I'm seeing portions here that feel like they're um, they're saying it in one way and then they do the exact opposite, right afterwards, and it's like, what's going on here? Well, what you know, am I just interpreting it badly? What's going on? I'm not. I'm having a hard time with some of the wording that they use here, and that's that's going to get me in trouble with their certifications later. So be right back. I need to blow my nose again. Okay, sorry about that. Um, so yeah, it's weird. All right, well, we have this quiz down below here. You want to create a list of products and their attributes to use as a reference data in an application. Which method do you use to create the reference data? Create a case view with fields for the product and product attributes. I mean, I guess. Connect your application to an external database that contains product information. Um, you can definitely do that. Configure a product's data object with a local system or record and add your data records to the product's data object. Well, shouldn't that be data records, not data object? So I don't see this one as the answer. Create a products pick list that contains the list of products and attributes. Um, I think this one is I mean, both of these seem, well, okay. Um, this might be, this might be fine if, of course, you get, if you bring the data in like once, okay? If you're constantly referencing that external database over and over and over again, then it's not great. It's not good design. Um, you want to create a full list of everything already done, already set up first. So, um, I would say, yeah, that would be great if done correctly, but I think this one is the answer. Apparently not. A pick list only stores a set allowed values for a single field. Product and product attributes must be stored in multiple fields. But wait, this is a pick list though. What? I want to create a list of products and their attributes to use as reference data in the application. Which method do you use to create the reference data? To use as reference data. You're not creating a listing of products. Or wait, you want to wait, hold on. You want to create a list of products and their attributes to use as reference data in an application. So, so yeah, a pick list to create a list of products is obviously not great. Mm, so obviously not that one. Let me look at this again. Create a case view with fields for the product and product attributes. I mean, sure, but you're not referencing a way of storing it after the fact, to be used as reference data. So this isn't the correct answer, or it shouldn't be. Um, Connect your application to an external database that contains product information. Once again, um, sure you can connect to an external database that contains product information, but once again, you're wanting to find a way of creating that list, right? So configure a product's data object with a local system or record and add your data records to the product's data object. With their wording here, this looks like the best option. Okay. Because now that I look at it, now that, I'm reading this as create a list of products and their attributes. You're creating a product's data object, which, should have, multiple parameters for their attributes with a local system of record. So obviously you're trying to store, each one of these data objects, you know, um, and it can be reused again. You know, if you reference the local system record, you can reference it and add your data records to the products data object. Once again, it's like, wait, add your data records to the products data object? Mm, Once again, this this doesn't feel right because of, up here, what we try to figure out. But maybe my interpretation of the data records is incorrect too. Maybe maybe it means something else. But I don't know. By creating local data storage for the product's data object, all associated data records can be packaged and distributed as part of the application. This is correct. But why are they saying add your data records to the product's data object? That this part doesn't really make that much sense. Hmm. What am I missing here? Where's the where's the disconnect? I'm feeling like I'm getting like only half the information sometimes from, or from these two topics that we've done so far. It feels like I'm getting only like half the information that I need, and or maybe my mind is trying to interpret it in a different fashion, and therefore um, it's just trying to confuse me even more. Um, I'm trying to make sense of it, but maybe I'm tripping myself up in some fashion or another. Really wish I knew what was going on here. What am I missing? Why am I having difficulty here? Okay, well, this video will be on YouTube 2 days from now on the 19th. I'll be releasing it then. Um, Yesterday's video will be released tomorrow. Although I don't know if I released today's video. I uploaded a lot last night, but I don't remember if I released um, the previous one. So I might have messed up on my timing on that one. Um, okay, well, I'm just gonna have to let it go for now. Um, as I mentioned before, I'm having a little bit of difficulty with the data model topics here for data modeling and data records now. Um, we're going to be moving on to data pages in the visual data model tomorrow. Um, I'm going to need to revisit this, or at the very least, I'm going to need to get some kind of clarity on this particular module because there's something going on in this particular module that just I'm having a disconnect with. I'm trying to go in this one direction, but it's going in that direction. So I'm missing, you know, um, my brain is trying to interpret the language and it's going off in this direction, but you know, it's uh it's not following the same path. Um, Kind of reminds me of when I was trying to take geometry for the first time. Um, I was struggling with geometry um, when I first took the class way back in high school. Um, and someone needed to kind of sit down with me and explain to me, okay, this is how you look at the problems, the laws of geometry to get that kind of understanding. Um, eventually it clicked for me, um, but at the same time, it's it was also a very rough year at November. So I was like 3 months in. I was struggling with it. Got a tutor. Started, going into tutoring, and then yeah, November hit. Rough time for the family at that point. Okay. So, um, okay. Well, we're gonna need to. Well, okay. If if you're part of Pega itself, or if you're a Pega trainer, I would love for you to kind of go look at the my data modeling on my data records and provide clarity. I would love for you to do that. Okay. Obviously, I'm going to be closing down my Twitch um, session for this. Not to say that I'm going to be closing down my entire Twitch streaming right now. I'm going to be moving on to other things. But for those of you watching on YouTube, I'm going to be stopping the recording pretty soon. Um, but if you're watching on YouTube, you know, um, and you have some insight as to why I'm kind of struggling with these two particular topics, please leave a comment. Let me know, you know, um, I would love for some clarity. I'm missing that clarity for that. So, um, is it Pega just kind of messing up on their language, or is it just my interpretation of that language that's tripping me up in some way? So let me know if you're watching this on YouTube. Um, you know, also, if you'd like, please leave a, like, comment, subscribe, you know, um, you know, uh, like I mentioned, I'm going through the entire system architect for my eventual certification. So if you want to follow along with me, I'll be posting all these videos up, as we proceed. So, um, um, but yeah, we're going to go into um, some chatting while I upload videos, and we're going to be playing some Final Fantasy VII afterwards. So, but that's it. So, for those of you watching on YouTube, thank you very much for watching. But we are going to go ahead and stop the recording now.